12.4 Day 3, Example 1b. Here is h of x. Again, they might use a different letter here, maybe a different variable, but you can always change it to h of x if that's what you would prefer. Quotient rule says that we want to recognize that for the rule that's there, the formula that we're plugging into, f of x, that's on the top part of the fraction, and g of x, that's down on the bottom. So what I would recommend doing is writing down f of x, the top part of the fraction each time. That's a 5x squared minus 3, and we'll also need its derivative. So I'm also going to write down f prime of x right away. Using our power rule, 2 times 5 is 10, and then reduce the power of the exponent by 1, so it would be 10x to the first, or just 10x. The derivative of a constant is 0, so 10x plus 0, or just 10x, is the derivative of function f. G of x is the original denominator, so I'm going to copy that down. And then also copying down its derivative. So just like we did with the power rule, function f and its derivative, function g and its derivative. The derivative of 2x, bring the 2 in front, that gives me a 2x, and then our exponent would be first, so 2x to the first, and then the derivative of negative 6, that's just 0. So g prime of x is just 2x. And then our formula for the quotient rule says that the derivative of our original fraction is equal to f prime times g. Those are the inside terms, so I'm just going to write those down with some parentheses as necessary. So we have function f, that is, or f prime rather, that is 10x. And we're multiplying that by function g, so that is x squared minus 6. And then in our formula here, there's subtraction. And then after the subtraction, we are going to multiply these two outside values. So again, we're working inside out. As long as you list it f prime, g prime, then you can think of it like inside out. So f is next. That is a 5x squared minus 3. And then we're multiplying that by g prime. And g prime in this problem is 2x. You could throw parentheses around that if you wanted to. Same thing with the 10x, but they're not necessary. Down in the bottom, we have the original denominator, g of x, but it's squared. So the original denominator, g of x, which is an x squared minus 6 squared. The answer in the back of the book, they would go through and multiply out everything on the top and then see if we could get anything to cancel, but I'm allowing you to stop right there. So for us, that's going to be our final answer. List out f prime, g, and g prime on the top. You do the insides minus the outsides, inside out, over the original bottom squared. That's our formula. I'm going to do one more of those quickly, and then we will be done with section 12.4. So here is letter C, one more of those. So for letter C, I have h of x that is equal to x plus x to the fourth up on the top, and an x squared down on the bottom. So again, I'm going to start with the top. That is function f, so I'm going to copy that down. F of x is equal to x plus x to the fourth. And then I also want to write down its derivative. We said that if you're taking the derivative of a term that just has x in it, the answer is the number that's in front. So it is just a 1. The derivative of a term with just an x is the number in front. And in this case, we just have an x, which is a 1x, so its derivative would just be 1. A more traditional power rule for the second term, we bring the 4 in front and then reduce the power by 1. So f prime of x for this problem is 1 plus 4x to the third. g of x. That is the original denominator. And for g prime of x, we need to do the derivative of x squared. Bring the 2 to the front, lower the power by 1, so the derivative ends up being g prime of x. From there, we should be able to write down the derivative. H prime of x, that is equal to, well, it's going to be a fraction. And we're going to work inside out with these 4. So we're going to do these insides multiplied together first. So that is a 1 plus 4x cubed times an x squared. So that's the insides. And then we want to do minus the outsides multiplied together. So subtraction, and then our outsides multiplied together. So that would be an x plus x to the 4th times 2x. And then down in the bottom part of the fraction, we want to have the original denominator, the x squared. We want to have that squared. So we would have an x squared squared in the bottom. That would be an x to the 4th if we took time to simplify that. So again, this is not where the book would stop, but I'm just wanting you to show me that you know how to use the quotient rule, so we're not going to worry about simplifying this. That does mean our answers won't match what's in the back of the book on those problems, but I'll write some answers up so that you can see what those are for the problems that I assign you.